it's reaching for the clouds. You're trying to constantly achieve something that great within your lifetime, and you have to keep questioning yourself. Did I do that? And I don't think that's a thirst that's ever truly quenched. Right. You keep pushing yourself forward and wanting to achieve.
I always felt like an outsider because I knew of people, that were in the industry. I just didn't know how to get into it. And I remember going to cast different agents when I was 9 or 10 years old. I was rejected twice. I remember there was like this sort of cattle call of kids, and I lined up. It was like a prison. It felt like an elite group of people, and it felt like I would never belong to them. So once I got the opportunity to, for example, get the movie This Boy's Life with Robert De Niro, I said, wow, now I'm able to I might be able to steer the course of my career. I might be able to have a career similar to these guys that I so admire. And that I knew at 15 years old was the biggest gift in the world, and that's never left me. And that was it. So I got rejected a couple times, and then I just kept asking and asking and asking. And I remember my dad saying, just stick with it. Someday you'll have your day. And then I came back, I think, 2 years later and finally got an agent.
Do you think if you weren't acting, you'd be a marine biologist?
I certainly do. I really do. I think that it's a huge passion of mine. And it really came from being able to go to like the Natural History Museum and watch an IMAX film about the rainforest, and then actually going there now as an adult and experiencing those places firsthand. You realize how fragile these ecosystems are and the diversification there and the benefit that it has for the rest of the world. But I guess as a young kid, I always got just really disheartened by the fact that we would so discard a species off the face of the planet. As I've said many times before, I never felt like I was a part of the Hollywood system. Mm-hmm. I always felt like this weird outsider. And I think that if it weren't for the fact that I had a mother that really took the time to listen to a kid that said, I want to do this for a living. This is what I know I want to do. This is my passion. A 10, 11-year-old kid. If it hadn't been for her taking me to auditions and the sheer proximity of going to a school that accepted me in Beverly Hills, and then being able to drive to the Valley or drive to Hollywood on the way back from school, I probably wouldn't be doing this for a living, because if I lived in any other location, I don't think my dream would have been a possibility.
It's all Hugh Glass's stories about man surviving the savagery of nature, being able to conquer nature or adapt to it, and the will to live, but took on all these other meanings. And then especially going to places like the Canadian tar sands and some of the environmental work that I did, seeing how we're systematically doing this, destroying these places, indigenous cultures, forest lands, our planet, on an unprecedented scale in human history. And we think we've learned so much from the past. We think we've learned so much from the mistakes of people in history.
And we need to work collectively together and stop procrastinating. We need to support leaders around the world who do not speak for the big polluters or the big corporations, but who speak for all of humanity, for the indigenous people of the world, for the billions and billions of underprivileged people who will be most affected by this, for our children's children, and for those people out there whose voices have been drowned out by the politics of greed. I thank you all for this amazing award tonight. Let us not take this planet for granted.
Being an actor is the first thing that I remember wanting to do in life. I remember at 14, 15 years old, watching some classic films, spending months and months watching all the great classics, all the great performers of the past, and being so incredibly inspired by them and saying to myself, one day I want to come close to doing something that good. So I think that thirst or that drive to just achieve what I believe is something as good as, those heroes that I have is what continues to make me want to do this. It's a combination of, being in the right place at the right time and being prepared for it, and being aggressive about it and sticking with it. I don't know, I mean, I'd done a lot of television and commercials before then, but it was really this one role that launched my career, and that was this boy's life. You know, that was the truth of the matter. I was at the right place at the right time and aggressively going out on auditions. Everything sort of made sense for me. We were making a film about pretty deplorable characters, pretty unlikable people, with Wall Street in the title, wondering if audiences would at all connect with these characters or this world or go along the journey with them. And he said to me, look, Leo, you know, I've done many films in my life, and I have to say, as long as you're honest and authentic about your portrayal of who these people are, no matter how despicable at times, no matter what part of, you know, the darker nature of humanity you're exploring, audiences will always connect with that and go along with that journey with you.
Like I said, you know, honestly, I do these movies because I really love movies, and I want to make great movies.
You know, and I think that is fundamentally truly important for an actor to be able to, like I was talking earlier, to suspend that disbelief. If you know way too many things intimately about a specific human being, they're not able to convey those characters realistically to an audience. You feel like, oh, that's not him, he's just acting, or they're nothing like that. And so, yes, I feel like when there is specific material that I feel deserves this type of forum, I do seize those moments, so you're right.
What was the hardest thing for you?
The pre-production process, in a lot of ways. I think that, you know, constantly reaffirming to ourselves the type of movie that we wanted to do, the fact that we wanted to take a lot of chances, and really questioning, you know, how an audience would react to all of this stuff. We had to kind of reaffirm that within one another. There was a lot of different, you know, sequences where the character could have gone another direction, but you know, somebody bringing up the subject of whether the audience would still be with our lead at that point, and whether we'd betray an audience.
What gives me strength all the time is to be able to have formulated a group of people around me that are my friends and my family. You know, those two words are enmeshed in my opinion, but it's given me a grounding that, as insane as my life can be sometimes, is always refreshing, and they're always so honest with me.
Are you the kind of actor who takes work home with you? Like, were you fun to be around at this while making this movie?
I don't know if I was fun. I was, yeah, it was such a constant adrenaline rush. Every day was just, we were all, you know, kicking on, you know, every possible cylinder, and it took so much energy out of me. But your only question every day is, what is good for me? That's it.